What is up, guys? John here, aka Bruce Lee. I'm a kickboxing teacher and Muay Thai fighter here in Canada, and today we're reacting to Neo versus Merovingian. I haven't watched The Matrix in forever, but a big shout out to one of the subscribers there at home, 75E2. I never caught your name, but he subscribed with the notification bells on, and he requested this video. So you guys know me, I'm a man of the people, alright? I want to be the people's champ. So we're going to react to it today based on two criteria, everyone. How realistic the martial arts are. Not everything, okay? Just the martial arts moves. Like, obviously it's the Matrix, like, this isn't real, right? The physics don't exactly make 100% sense or 100% realism. But we're gonna balance out the realism of the martial arts moves and just the overall entertainment factor of the movie from the perspective of a kickboxing teacher. It's John, aka Bruce Lee. Thanks for tuning in, and let's take a look. These predator looking guys. Oh! That's creepy.
That's a nice trick.
I cannot go back. I'll handle them.
You know, Keanu, just like right off the bat here.
I'll handle them.
Like that, this movie looks a lot more cheesy than I remember, to be honest. But you know what? Like, shout out to Keanu Reeves. I feel like his acting skill has got even better. Like when you compare, like even just like this stiff-looking thing, like to like John Wick and all this stuff, like. The guy's gotten better over the years, you know. You just don't appreciate him. It's been 20 years or whatever since the movie came out. Oh, this is pretty cool. I think he like launches it back, right? Oh, he doesn't. That's cool. Kill him. Those are good dodges. Like, oh yeah, like the physics obviously isn't real, right? But there's some good stuff happening here. Nice. Solid roundhouse kick. Some cool stuff going on already. So let's backtrack a tiny bit there where that fight actually begins. So, tactically some stuff here is making a lot of sense that I like. So you see how everyone's starting to come at him, and what I like about this kind of like this team effort they're doing right now is that like they're not going in like one at a time, right? It's not like a 2D fighting game where they're just like it's like one plane. So what they're trying to do is already trying to branch around him, and what they're also doing to hit him simultaneously is that, you know, this one guy on the left and one guy on the right, they're just starting to take turns hitting him one at a time. And when you have like 2 or 3 people on your team versus one, your biggest detriment is that you can get in the way of each other. So you want to make sure that you're kind of being flowy about it. And what they're gonna do here, where one guy's going, the next guy goes, and then the guy comes back in, totally makes sense. The other guys are getting some weapons, and Neo's also doing some things to separate them and give them time, right? When you're fighting 5 or 6 people, you want to buy yourself time to fight them individually. Now, no matter how good you are, 6 people is a lot of people to fight, but if you can have one, like, kind of, if you have, like, the guy that hit the statue, you know, he's going to be debilitated for a bit. You have the guy that you flipped on his back, like, now you have some time to breathe and deal with the other people, right? So that makes sense. What I don't like here, so I love this roundhouse kick. Sorry, what I don't like, what I don't like that's happening to Neo, but what he's addressing right now is that you see how he's starting to get surrounded. So the person on the floor by the painting, like they're still there, whatever. The guy that tried to do the halberd on him, like he dealt with that with a roundhouse kick. He's aware now there's a lot of people around him. So what he does, he starts rushing towards like where we're viewing, like kind of where the camera is right now. Right? He's dodging through. Right? Really smart, because as he pulls out to the other side, now all 5 of his opponents are in front of him. As they start to get around him and surround him, right, that's when it's really hard to deal with, especially if they know what they're doing, right? Like, if they go in all at the same time, you're kind of screwed. If they're taking turns hitting you, like, there's so many, like, things happening around you, it's like, you know, without the choreography, there's no way, like, you know, Keanu Reeves would survive the situation. You gotta find a way to bring them all in the way of each other. So he's coming to where the stairs meet. There's gonna be a choke point now where all 5 of them, especially with long weapons like swords and the halberd, they're in the way of each other. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If so, please leave a like, because it means a lot to me and supports the channel big time. And please consider subscribing so I can hang out with you again. For now, let's get back to the video. They're in the way of each other. I don't remember the context. If you guys remember what's happening in the scene, maybe comment below for me, because I don't even know. Oh, wait, I missed some good stuff there. My bad, my bad. These are good dodges. He's starting to flow through the opponents again. That's pretty cool. You know, watching that guy move really reminds me of like Salat, which I've been watching a lot on the channel with you guys. So let's backtrack a tiny bit here. You see here, there's the weapons are starting to get in the way of each other. Like, it's just like the nature of, like, you know, the tightness of it. I actually don't think those flail things are like that what he hit his friend with. I don't think those flail things are pretty effective, to be honest with you, but it's pretty cool stuff. And you see here, this is why I actually backtracked, that this girl with, like, the shield and sword, this is kind of for show, but she's, like, really leaving her shield arm down and not using it properly to balance her weight, so. Like, see, like, where she goes, like, bang, and just leaves it open to get hit. Like, I'm not a crazy fan of, like, that. Like, when she starts, she's kind of more swiping like this and keeping the shield arm up, and she kind of opens up to, like, purposely get hit. Like, that's where kind of, like, there's, like, a bit of holes in, this, in the choreography, in my opinion, but it's still super cool stuff, and this guy's, like, you know, skill with his weapons is pretty cool. That was a nice touch. Oh, that wasn't even a girl, was it? Whatever they identify as.
You see, he's just a man.
He bleeds. That's not just a man. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's see what he does with these. Actually, you know what? Keanu Reeves actually was pretty good with that. So what I like about this, so in some of the other scenes we've seen on the channel, I can't even think of them exactly right now, but there was one, the Jackie Chan one, I think, where someone used these weapons. You'll notice what they do is, like, they kind of sometimes they go like bang, bang, and what I mean by that is one arm comes completely behind them, or the elbow travels behind their ribs, and it really opens them up. Like, look how wide my face is on this side, right? And in this scene, Keanu Reeves, or his stunt double, uses it pretty well in my opinion. You know, even though he switches grip a lot, he's always keeping one part of the blade in between him and his opponent, which is exactly how you use those. Bang, 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 bang. You know what I mean? Like, he actually did drop his hand. Now that I'm watching it again, he dropped his hand for a second, but he's always, like, attacking with either side of either the hilt or either side of the prongs, and keeping one hand in front of him. I thought that was pretty good, actually. Personally, if I was Neo, I would have chosen the rangier weapon to deal with these many people, but I'm not Neo. I can't summon daggers off the wall, so. He's doing a good job. Like, this is where, like, again, like, this is, like, obviously it's just cool, but, like, this right here where he knows he's left a person behind him. So, he trips the guy, right, or the girl, whatever, and he's not debilitated. What I mean by debilitated is you need something where they're, like, injured or bleeding, or they gotta stop and address their injury, so you have time to deal with it. What he's doing now, he's leaving an opponent behind him who only tripped. He can easily stand up and come back at him, and he's only got 2 short daggers to deal with now 3 armed opponents. And what you want to do, again, is try to fight them one at a time. Right now, he's fighting 2 simultaneously, which is not ideal for a shorter range weapon, which, you know, if you're really skilled, let's say you can do it, but now he's left a person behind him. And if you're anyone but Neo, like, this is a losing situation, you know what I mean? I like those slashes, though, but right here, you see where both of these guys, another, like, kind of, like, for me, is, like, a little bit of a gap in the choreography, is, look at what Neo starts doing to these guys. Both guys, your left and right, Mohawk and whatever, they both drop their hands going like this for a little bit here. Right? Like, that's where you can see a little bit of a gap, and then the guy with a sword and shield gets behind him, and he knows to block. Like, this really starts to become a little bit less realistic. But what I like and what I will say is that, like, the way he's using the daggers and, like, flipping them over like that, like, for me, it does look pretty real. It's just that his opponents are very willing to take slashes. Just my personal opinion, guys, never fight on stairs. Like, it's so hard, whether you're on top, on bottom, moving up, moving down, just like the lack of the plane, it makes it so hard to like pivot your hips and like you just trip over yourself. I think if someone here, you know, comment someone down below if you think you can fight well on stairs, I'd love to hear about it. I think it's just not practical. It's how you like break your neck falling down the stairs. Like, you'll be beat up from the fight, nothing to do with your opponent. What I will say about this, what I like about the stairs is now, like, because like it's coming up, like you only deal with one person at a time, and if you're more skilled with these two daggers, he could easily one-on-one each one of these guys 4 in a row and just knock them down the stairs, right? I don't think that what's happening there, let's see if the mouse shows up. Oh, it does. What's happening there with the dagger pokes right through the shield and pins it to the wall. I personally think that's a stretch, because a lot of those shields, they're rounded for a reason, so that like arrows or like daggers, they kind of like they kind of deflect off a little bit more than that. So finding enough purchase, even with the designs that they have on the shield, finding enough purchase to pierce, you know, the metal, and usually there's a wood panel underneath or some kind of cloth panel underneath, and what that's for is to kind of like brace some of the impact. If you're holding just a piece of metal and it's getting slashed, it's just gonna, you know, eventually it'll wear down your arm. So people usually put like some wood or leather or some kind of padding on the inside of the shield for the dagger to go right through both of those layers. For me, not super realistic. I like what Neo's doing though, is changing the environment all the time to keep the opponent on edge, right? Yes, use a sword. I'm not a sword or dagger master, by the way, guys, so if anyone wants to correct me, have at it. I personally don't think he's using the sword correctly here. He's using the sword cool, though. That's very cool. Those were better. So let's backtrack a bit to just when like Neo actually receives a sword. I think it's like, yeah, right here. So what I don't like about this, like the first maybe 5 seconds of this, is that he's doing like long, flowy things, which you do make circular motions with a long sword. But the fact that he's using it one-handed with his hands kind of like just like looking like just he's just like fighting with chest a little bit here. Like, I don't always see sword masters do that. So you'll see here it's like very like, you know, he's like doing the kicks and doing just like, yeah, you see these wide flowy swings. So I'm not a crazy big fan of that, but he actually switches his guard here. So what you see here, where there are like swinging motions that you do with a sword. But what I really like about this is that, like, or what I find with like sword masters, they want, and like fencing in general, right? They want to use the minimum amount of motion or minimum distance with each stroke to land the hit without overcommitting themselves. So you gotta remember, the sword is also there to defend their entire body. So he's gonna switch from these long, flowy whatevers. And it's right around here, right after this. The way he slices there was like bang, 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 bang. That seems a bit more realistic to me. Like this guy here too, like the fact that he's going like this for like who knows how many minutes here before trying to just pull out the dagger. Stupid. But it buys Neo some time. Oh. They do a good job of making like this scene just cool though. Yeah, you know what I learned about, because I've been watching some sword play, like just the videos and stuff like that. Just like leaving your sword in a person like that wouldn't happen, and you wouldn't even go this deep with it. Most sword masters, they just go into 6. Like, think about how long your torso is, right? Like not like if you have a big like belly or anything like that, but like for this guy, like he's like, you know, there's not a whole lot of fat there to slice through. It's like what, maybe 6 inches like this. So most people actually, like, they would still pierce just like that, like 6 inches, but not so deep where the sword gets stuck. They would just poke you in about 4 to 6 inches and try to slip it out as soon as possible, because 2 reasons. 1, you keep your sword. 2, you're not trying to stab the guy and leave a foreign object in their body. You're trying to get a laceration. So what that means is, as you come in, yes, obviously you're piercing someone, doing damage, but what the real killing aspect of this is the pulling out. So when you pull that sword out and lacerate the organs and lacerate the skin, and that when that blood starts to exit those organs and essentially your body, your internal stasis, right? Or your internal, not stasis is the word I'm looking for. Your homeostasis, right, is disrupted from that laceration. That's really the killing blow. So when Swordmaster's going for a kill shot to the gut, it'd be like, you know, they'd pull it out very quickly and get back in the guard and maybe space out and clear the distance, because you haven't like knocked the person out, right? In this case, Neo is like shoving him off the balcony or whatever, but you would get the sword in and slip it out within like half a second, and then you want to step back and clear in case he makes any last minute attempts to slash at you. So this whole like in movies, like they shove it in like halfway through, have the sword peeking out, like, especially because the guy's not armored. There actually was no reason for that. So tidbit of information there for y'all. Still fighting 3 guys. That's cool. Kind of has like Escrima sticks, right? Like kind of like Filipino stick fighting. That's cool. I personally wouldn't fight 2 people on either side of me simultaneously if I could, because fighting a guy with just one hand or whatever, when you're like Escrima sticks, like it's the same way with like certain dagger forms and like two like dual wield sword forms. Usually Escrima style, like you're not really fighting out to the sides like this. You always have like one stick in front of your opponent. So he's not really using any katas, like sword fighting katas or any like Escrima things that I see here. It just looks freaking cool. But you see that, like, though these ones, that makes a lot. Like this part, I'm not a huge fan of. But when he turns into him and kind of like swiping with both sticks with that kind of speed, that's the main benefit, right? And you see here now, there's 2 guys. Like they've taken out 2 guys here, hitting each other, friendly fire. That's what I mean when you're fighting with like a few people on your team. Your biggest detriment ends up being like getting in the way of each other. That's a nice disarm. Switch his weapon. I would keep the sticks. Oh. Oh, it was a woman. Who knows? Well, that's the scene, everybody. Alright, that's the scene, everybody, here in Matrix Reloaded with Neo versus Merovingian. Someone try to get the phonetic stuff down below. You know what? I haven't seen the movie, so I just don't remember. So question of the day, how do you say this word? Merovingian. I actually have no clue. Someone help me out with the phonetics in the comments below. And let's get into the breakdown. So realism style, I would say this is there's a lot of, I'm just saying about the martial arts, not like any of like the jump stuff, jump cables. Like obviously it's a movie, it's the Matrix. I thought I'd give that like a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty realistic, and I've been trying to be a bit more critical of my scores. Like sometimes I like to give like I try to be not biased, but sometimes I give like certain things like a high score, I'm told, just because of whatever reason. I think 7 is fair. There's some of the stuff there like tactically I didn't like letting themselves get surrounded, and like maybe when you're a badass like Neo, you don't really care, like whatever. But like the whole like Escrima fighting on either side, and like the really wide arcing sword forms there where you're like doing like roundhouse kicks in the middle of it, like for me that's really a break in the realism if that's what you're going for, which obviously, guys, I know it's the Matrix, they're not. But I think the martial arts portion of it is like maybe like a 7 out of 10. I think that's fair. There's some good stuff from his stunt double. His opponents are very willing is another thing I'm not a crazy big fan of. They'll do like 2 slick moves and be like, oh no. Right, and just completely drop their guard. Like I'm never, you guys know me, I'm never a fan of that, because I would never just stand there and take hits myself. Like, you know, if I'm going down fighting. Entertainment factor though, like it's such a cool scene, and even with the jump cables back in this time frame, I thought it was pretty immersive, you know what I mean? Like obviously when you compare to like Endgame nowadays, like this doesn't hold a candle to the effects in the movie like that, but for me I thought it was still very cohesive and just fun to watch. So I'd give that a 9 out of 10, and like, the only reason I can't give it a 10 is because, again, for me, when there's too many willing participants in the fight scene, like just from my background, I have trouble like fully fully like getting into it and like, you know, getting lost in the movie. So that's why I give it a 7 and a 10. 7 for realism, and 9 for entertainment factor, guys. But let me know if did I rate too low, did I rate too high. Comment below what your ratings would have been. Comment below how to say this name because I really have no clue. And thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video or saw some value in it, please leave a like and subscribe because it means I'll see you again. John's out, Bruce Lee is out, and I'll see you next time, guys.